Hey, you're listening to Don't Lie to Your Life Coach podcast with Kim Arrington. I'm Kim Arrington. I'm a life coach, a weight loss coach, an author, and a badass passionate about helping you connect back to your most authentic self. Join me here each week so I can coach you on how to think all those juicy thoughts that get you feeling your absolute best and taking some big ass action. Coaching has changed my life, and it can change your life too. I'm here to give you real life solutions to create a life you'll love. Because the truth is, boo, you ain't just got problems, you got options. Hey, y'all. Hello. Today is my birthday episode. Now, my birthday is actually Earth Day, April 22nd. Is that not totally fitting that my birthday is Earth Day? If you knew how much you've listened to the podcast, you know how much I love nature, right? But I saved this topic for my birthday because this topic was just as much for me. I just had to look at myself for a second. If you're watching me on YouTube, my dress is super cute. This topic is just as much for me as it is for you. It might be more for me. Today, we are going to talk about money. And sometimes I'm a punk ass and I hold on to a topic because sometimes I think it's too big, or I think I don't really know what I want to say about it. And you all always know I'm always coming from a lens of social justice and of communities who have not had all the opportunities that other communities have. And so it does make me think about things more, and money is one of those things. And let me just say, people of color have not had all the opportunities when it comes to money. There have been concerted efforts to disenfranchise. And I know disenfranchise typically is talking about voting, but to take money out of people of color, in my case, Black people's hands. And so that's something I grapple with. It is. But what you don't know is that years ago, I had kind of a fervent prayer where I was like, if I die, I want to figure out overeating. Like, I don't want to die and not have figured this out. And I figured that out. But then I surveyed the land and I was like, what's the other thing? And I was like, if I die, before I die, I want to figure this money thing out. Because growing up, I had so much guilt around how much we had. Why do I have what I have? And why does this community not have what they have? I remember that. I remember feeling really guilty seeing some of the things that my classmates didn't have and things that were not even a consideration for me. Now, of course, my parents would have a different perspective on what our money situation was, but we did not go without. Okay, to my knowledge. And we had a lot. And so that guilt followed me into my teens, into my 20s, into my 30s, even into my 40s. And I saw self-sabotage come around money. And this was the year where I made some changes in my business model to support having a life of abundance and what that looked like for me. And I'm continuing to do that. So if you all want to coach one-on-one with me, hippity skippity to it, because that's changing. I'm going to be doing a lot more group coaching, and my one-on-one coaching is going to be more premium priced. So that was a big change for me. I had to do a lot of self-reflection. I had to realize that I had assisted and guided so many people, and that wasn't even necessary for me to make this change in my business, so that I could have more freedom. I need to have freedom. I need to be in the world, seeing the things that affect you all, the things that affect me, so I can come back and do this podcast, so I can build a community, because you all, sky's the limit for me. I have the weight loss course, and then there will be a membership probably that's more general life coachy, and a mastermind for coaches, and all these things that my business can grow to. But I'm not going to be working 90 hours a week. I've had that life. It has to have ease. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to change our story about money and how to find ease in the process, right? Trusting the process. I saw this, praise the process, like recognizing in the process, even though it's difficult. And, I've had some challenges this year, personal challenges that did not have to do with money, where I felt like I came to my knees. I had to do a lot of coaching of myself. And I had to really understand that the process that I was going through was going to enable me to live the life that I wanted to live. And that was really important. I preached to you all about desires, and I knew I needed to live mine. And so looking at the money piece was a part of that. Some other bigger parts, but I needed to know that the life I wanted was possible, and money helps with that. So, we all want money. I mean, we do, but we have conflicted feelings about money. And so you're going to kind of see me hash this out a little bit in this episode, okay? And this takes courage. It's fucking courage for me, because I don't like hurting you all's feelings, although I know that sometimes speaking the truth as I know it might step on toes. I don't want to minimize how complicated money is, and how generationally we've received stories about money. But at the same time, y'all, I'm a pusher. I'm a hope pusher. And I want you to know that there is possibility in changing how you view what's possible for you. And that can also be in regards to money. Okay. But I avoided the shit out of this. I ain't gonna lie. Okay. So, and the isms, sexism, racism, ageism. I have countless stories for each of those in regards to money. A friend who is nearing 60 and professionally is like, how am I going to make it to have the life I want in this industry? Or I was making $35,000. I was in my 20s. So this was 20 plus years ago. And I remember the person cutting me off from negotiating. I tried it, and I took the job anyway. I remember another job where I was absolutely cut off from negotiating. I took that job, but not for long. Okay. So I'm not going to give you skills as much as just like, I'm not going to give you negotiation skills. I'm going to give you ways to look at the story you're telling yourself about money and what is possible. Okay. So one of the things you need to look at or you could look at, is your growing up story about money. I talked a little bit about that. Like, how did your family think about money? Was it a struggle? Was there a lot of money? Were you middle class? Was there a lot of stress around money? Was there, a lot of shame? I had shame around what you had. Were there even open, honest communication around money? Because, I mean, other than my allowance and a couple of other things, yeah, like, and now that many of us have kids, a lot of times, and I know this for myself, it's the warning. The conversation is warning versus a two-way street around how you feel. So thinking about that growing up story of money, what is something you want to change about that? What are things you want to change about that story? How do you want to look at it differently? Because you all understand I'm a coach, right? And part of what I teach you all is that you have the power to change and you have the power of choice. And I was just talking to someone and I was like, people don't realize they have a choice. You do. You do. Okay. So, two things. How do I want to revise the story I was taught about money growing up? And where are there some choices that I'm not seeing? Because I know that so many of us feel despair when we feel like we don't have choices. We feel oppressed when we don't feel like we have choices. Okay. I like this idea of like not just the stories we're telling ourselves now, but what's the current story you're telling yourself about money? A story that ain't serving you can follow you all the way home. Okay. How are you viewing money now? That's why I said this episode is less about, a lot of podcast episodes, I give you actionable things. This is really an episode for you to answer questions and think. That's actionable, but to kind of see how you're feeling, see how you're thinking. So, what story is still following you home? And what do you want to do about it? Like, a lot of us have really strong opinions about people who have money. But if you want to have more money, which is okay, and you have strong opinions about people who have money, how the hell do you reconcile that in your mind? How do you do that? You see? Yes, I believe in cognitive dissonance, right? That there are people who have money who I don't like how they've used their money or what they've done to people who may not have money. Yes, that's different. But if we put everyone who has money into a box of they can't be trusted, they do unsavory things, they are money grubbing, like all they think about is money. Money is the root of all evil. If we say those kind of things, then if we want to have a reality where we make more money, how do we reconcile that? How does that work? I don't think you do. So I want you, we can pen and paper this, or we can fingers to keyboard this, of thinking about your beliefs about people who have money. Okay. So then it gets into, now what's a newer story you want to tell? Yeah, there are some people who have money who are assholes. Yeah, there are some people who don't have money who are assholes. But you know what? When I have money, I would like to, or with my money, I want to. So one of the models that I always think about with my money is I want enough to take care of myself. I want enough to save. I want enough to have fun with. I want enough to contribute to other things, causes. Okay. So what's that next story you want to tell? Like if you were to be able to have money how you want it, right? What would that look like for you? Oh, my bills would be paid months in advance. Oh, I'd be able to buy a car in cash. Oh, I would be able to pay off this person's. Because the other thing you want to do when you're thinking about money is think about your giving as well, because often when we have money, we feel a pressure to overgive. So what is the difference between, and I'll link to my podcast about overgiving. Okay. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit too. I want you to think about right now, because some of you all might be like, I'm like, I can't really do what the questions that were asked before about money, but this one is a little bit more accessible. Write down 3 thoughts you have about money. What are 3 things that come to your mind? And do not censor. There's never enough. When I spend it, I'm always worried that I'm not going to get it back. I feel like I don't trust myself. I waste money, or money happens to other people, or I feel like the job I get paid a lot of money and I feel guilty about it. And I know I'm saying a lot of negative things, quote unquote negative. I know I'm saying things that have a strong emotional pull, but what about even 3 positive things, okay? Or neutral things. 3 things like, I really would love to have more money. I'm really curious about how to get more money and to make that an easier experience. Okay. So I want you to write down those 3 thoughts. And I want you to think about, what are some new money agreements that you could come up with? Like, a big one for me was, I'm going to really be less scared when it comes to money, because many of us have a fight or flight response to money, right? Like, flight, we don't want to talk about it. It makes us uncomfortable. Fight, we want to talk about how, you know, we haven't been on the receiving end of money, or how people have done things to us when it comes to money. Freeze, we go quiet, we go silent. It's like we almost aren't there and the conversation happens around us. Or fawn, where fawning is when you are just only seeing the positives. So we may not be looking at some of our negative experiences with money too. So if we're going to tell the story, let's tell it completely, and then we can decide how we want to think about it as we continue working through that. And for me, journaling is huge for that. Like, I can type up like today, I was like, I want to be okay with this new business model. And I want to be okay if people talk about me or say that I'm different, because that's already happened at times. Or I want to be okay with feeling upset or bothered or even crying, and then coming back to, homeostasis, which is who I am. Okay. I want to say this. It is okay to want a lot of money, even more money than you need, even more money than you could imagine ever making. It's okay. It's okay. A book that has been a huge guide for me, 2 books. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I'll link to that in the show notes. And then We Should All Be Millionaires, which is Rachel Rogers, who has really helped me to look at how I feel about money, including my shame around it. Okay. It's okay to want to spend money on you. I was just talking to a client yesterday, and she's a general life coaching client, but we also have been really working through weight loss. And I was saying to her, she was talking about how she had been having a bunch of cravings. And I said, yeah, well, we need to go ahead. Part of the reason that when I do a bigger weight loss or one-on-one, we talk about desire rewire, which is what are our desires? What do we want? And she was talking about going to a resort in Mexico, but then she was like, they have the same resort in Tahiti. And she kind of like, when she said it, I could see the shame. And I was like, well, look, you don't got to go to the resort in Tahiti. You don't have to do that. But I do want you to be honest that there's a desire for that, and look at the pricing and see what it looks like. Like, don't write it off because you think it's going to be a ridiculous amount of money. It is okay to spend money on you. Obviously, y'all, there are money coaches. I need to think about the book. I will put it in the show notes. She's African-American woman. Her name is not coming to me, but she has a ton of books on money. Oh gosh, I can't remember, but I'm gonna link her. If you go to the YouTube or any of the podcast show notes, you'll be able to see the name of the books. I'll put she's written a couple of books, and I hate it because she is like the quintessential money person. Okay. I can't think of her name. But yeah, it's okay to spend money on you. It's also okay to get a plan about money. I will say the one thing I like about Rachel Rogers' book is I am a permitter. There are restrictors and there are permitters. Permitters are the people that the minute you restrict, all they want to do is go harder in the paint and have more of the thing. So for instance, if I were to say, which I never would say, I can't eat French fries again. Immediately, if I said that, I would want to eat all the French fries in the world. It would become a thing. Okay. That's why with my weight loss program, you're allowed to eat whatever you want, as long as it's not a food allergy or your doctor has told you otherwise. But then there are restrictors who, if you give them, they think, I am working to dispel this. If you give them all the freedom, it makes them want to have less freedom, makes them want to restrict more. So for instance, I say, oh, you can eat everything. And then they just will eat broccoli, grilled chicken, and a baked potato because they're scared of the freedom. Okay. So restrictors have to learn how to be free, and permitters have to learn that freedom doesn't mean falling face down into coconut cream pie. If you have all that freedom, you get to use it over and over. So you don't have to use all that freedom at one time. So if we put that towards money, it's okay that you need an education on it. It's okay that you need to learn about it. And this time more than ever, there are all these resources. There are programs you can buy. There's free stuff. There are books you can read. You can find your money guru or your money coach or your money program. I mean, a lot of people like Dave Ramsey. I'm not a Dave Ramsey person, but I know folks who have felt great about being able to pay off stuff with Dave Ramsey. I feel good that there are people who this solution resonates with them and another solution resonates with others. What I want you to do is to keep going until you find your solution that resonates with you. Okay. How do you build trust with money? Money is a place, after I've just said, hey, look at your desires. Hey, give yourself money. Money is a place we often have acted out. And the problems that have arisen because of the money have felt huge. But we can develop trust. I don't know about you, but I'm not 15 anymore for a reason. I like touching that younger part of me, that carefree part of me, but there's some things that I have to pause and be 46-year-old Kim. I'm not 46 yet, but April 22nd, 46. Okay. Happy birthday to me. I know. Happy birthday to me. I've already said this, but I just want to say it again before I close it out. It's okay to get help around your thoughts and feelings about money. Almost with quite a few of my clients, money comes up. it's a big rock in adulthood. I've had clients who have a lot of money and they've needed to talk through that. I've had clients who are trying to deal with debt and they've needed to talk through that. I've had clients who needed to develop self-trust around money. I've had clients who have overeaten because of their stress around money. I myself have done a lot of these things too. And so it can be figured out. But I am not a pull yourself up by the bootstraps person. I'm not. I am a person who I believe looking at awareness, talking with your friends, sometimes it gets heated, science projecting it, research projecting yourself around money, asking yourself how that's changed. One of the big things that I had to do in my money journey is really hook into some safety. Like, I affirm, like, money, I can feel safe about money. I can find safety in money. I can feel good about the things that I have. I can realize that the essence of me can never be taken away. Like, so there are ways for us. So if you were to think right now, I'll leave you with this. This should be your homework. I've given you a lot of questions in this episode, but this will be your homework. What is a juicy thought? What's a power thought? What's something that you could think about money that makes you feel good? Because we've spent a lot of time not feeling good about money, many of us. So what's something that can make you feel good? Like, if you want to be rich, I want to have more money than I need, or I want to have a good relationship with money, or I trust myself when it comes to money, or money gives me amazing experiences with my loved ones and with myself. Like, I want you to think about a juicy thought that you can apply to money. Okay. Can't y'all tell I was vulnerable in this episode? I was super fucking vulnerable because I think it feels more comfortable to me sometimes when I feel like I've completely figured a thing out. But this was my 2023 focus, was really being so honest and not prioritizing others when it comes to money, but prioritizing my own needs, my own desires, my own wants. And so you hear that grapple in my voice right now. So anyway, yeah, money's a big topic. We can break it down into smaller pieces. If there is a book you think I should read about money, please hit me up on my Instagram, and drop me a DM, or, put it under, when I post this, put it under here. I might even say, what's your favorite book on the subject of money, or podcast on the subject of money? Because there are lots. There's one, Earn Your Leisure. I've actually never fully listened to an episode, but that's something that I'm reaching for, because obviously there's tons of ways to build wealth with investing, et cetera, so forth. I did take a class on stocks and just really wanted to have more information, because information is important to me. However, intellectualizing something completely and not looking at the feelings around it, that's something I probably should have said, was feel your feelings around money and then decide what it is you want to do with that. Okay. Thanks, y'all. Yeah, this is a little ooey gooey for me, but that's good. All right. Have a good one. I'm going to have a good birthday. I will see y'all next week. Are you feeling what you just heard? Good, good. Repeat after me. You don't have to figure it out on your own again anymore. I'm here to help. Head over to kimarrington.com and download my free video series dedicated to getting you feeling your best right now. Look around. There's some good stuff waiting on you. Got questions? Well, we're always talking on the socials, so find me on YouTube, Insta, and the book. Don't be shy, y'all. Go listen to another episode or join me here the same time next week. Finally, don't keep good shit to yourself. Share this with a homie that could use some help too. Remember, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not lying to our doctors. And you damn sure don't lie to your life coach.